Hi guys. Today we're going to follow up with the video that I did last week where I was talking about decision making. And today I just want to talk about why most people make bad decisions or why they end up in bad situations because of the decisions that they made. And hopefully this will be able to help somebody in terms of making the right choices and the right decisions when it comes to choosing a life partner. So, one of the main reasons, it might even be the only reason, but the main reason that I've realized, like with a lot of people, why they end up making a decision to stay in a situation where they're not really optimally happy is because they have this fear that what if they don't find someone else who's better or who's just, who can take care of them or whatever, which is very sad because like I've mentioned in previous videos, God wants you to live life and He wants you to live life abundantly. So there's never any reason for you to compromise. There's never any reason for you to stay with someone that doesn't make you happy just because they look good on paper or just because it's the first guy that, has stuck around or whatever other reason that you can come up with. Because at the end of the day, you need to value yourself. You need to know what your self worth is. And God knows what your worth is. But the question is, do you know what your worth is? And you will only get according to what you believe you're worth. God is able to give you more, but it's up to you to make the choice whether you want to receive more or not. And most of the time, I tell people that when you decide to be with a partner or when you look at the partner that you're with, are they a true reflection of God's fullness, of what He would want for you? Who the person that you're with, do they really truly reflect the fullness of everything that God would like you to have, the fullness of the joy of marriage, the goodness of what God has for you? And the sad thing is a lot of people have now, I don't know, I really don't know why now society has just settled. A lot of people have just decided to settle in relationships, and I don't understand that. The way that I, see things is that the person that you decide to be with should be a reflection of who you believe God is and what you believe God is capable to do for you. You know, because this is someone that you spend the rest of your life with. Marriage is something beautiful that God has created. So if this is something beautiful that God has created and this partner is someone that's supposed to, you know, I don't want to say complete because, there's now this thing that, you are complete by yourself, but this person comes and they compliment you. That's the word. So this person will compliment you, they'll make you happy, they'll make you see life in a bigger way. And, it's just someone that loves you and cares for you. And this would be a gift from God. And if that is what a relationship is, then why wouldn't you expect that from God? Why are you not? Why have you settled? Why has society decided to settle? Why has society just decided that God can't give you that? And I find it so sad because now you have, I mean, let's be real, you have a lot of bitter married people that are going around telling people how bad marriage is and how sad marriage is and how limiting marriage is, which, if you had made the right decision, to be honest, that is not what marriage is. That is not what God intended for marriage. That, what society is saying, what society is trying to make people believe about marriage is not what God intended marriage to be. So you need to be able to make those declarations, go back to the word, go back to the God that you know, the loving Father that you know, with all the love that He has for you. Would He really endorse marriage if marriage was so bad? I don't understand if we believe that God created so many beautiful things, so many wonderful things, and He is the one who created marriage, then why are we all under this impression that marriage is such a bad thing? At the end of the day, the only conclusion that I come up with is because people make bad choices and bad decisions, or they stay in bad relationships, and then they go back and they blame God and they say, it's God's fault, but you made your own choice. You still have the freedom of choice. and you made your own choice that was outside of God's will, or you decided that God could not give you better. And because you decided that God could not give you better, now you're in a situation where you've decided, where you're not happy, and then now you're blaming God. But we need to know our self-worth. We need to know who God is to us. And because of who the love that we know that God has for us, we have to know and believe that God has better for us. So don't find yourself in a situation where you're being ill-treated, where you're not happy, where you're in a relationship that could never reflect who God is, and then you decide to stay because then at that time you've made a choice outside of God's will, and you've made a choice to move out of what God had intended for marriage. You should make those declarations, believe, that God is able to do greater things than you can imagine. Just because so and so is in a bad marriage, just because so and so made a bad choice, it doesn't mean God can't do great things for you. If you want a great marriage, you want a great husband who's God fearing, who's this and who's that, God can give that to you. He is our God, He is our Father. He has promised so many great things for us. He said, God will never give you a stone when you're asking for bread. He's our dad. And there is no way that you can ask him for something that can make you happy and he'll give you something else. The only way you'll get something else is because you have made the choice and you have made the decision to settle for something less than what you deserve. So start praying, start making those declarations of the things that you know that God is capable of bringing into your life. And that's how you make steps towards receiving the fullness of what God has promised for marriage. That's all I have for today in terms of why we make bad decisions when it comes to choosing a partner.